Welcome to Block 5 of the endurance element of your athletic development program. Up to now, we've been fairly reserved on how far we want you to push your endurance element, maintaining that 180 beats and less of heart rate throughout your runs or your conditioning, or 7 to 8 out of 10 on your exertion. But now you can go past the threshold because you've built a good aerobic base to allow you to benefit from more intense runs. So it's not all about how maximally we train. Sometimes it's about smart training and developing a nice base to benefit from the more intense runs. There's 6 sessions in this block, so this block is 3 sessions per week, and you've got a 2-week block. The first session is 2 times 8 minutes with a 2-minute rest. Again, you can push past that 180 beats per minute. Now, of course, you runners who've done a significant amount of running will know that you can't go maxed out from the start. You have to build your way into it. And what we'd say is the last 2, 3, maybe 1 minute of the run becomes the hardest and most intensity. So build up your pace. What you don't want to go out, set out too fast and then start to decrease your intensity as you end. That's not the kind of run that we're looking for. We want you steady state, sort of building up the intensity as the runs go and as the minutes goes. Look at your heart rate, monitor where you are. If you're up in the high 90s, 190s, then you may have to reduce the pace and the next time you go and run, just graduate yourself up, and in the last 2-3 minutes really push the intensity. So the first session is 2 times 8 minutes. The second session is also 2 times 8 minutes, but maybe those of you who've got the analysis, you might see how much distance you're covering in those 8 minutes. If that's getting higher, obviously you're benefiting from the sessions. And the last session of the week is 3 times 8 minutes with a 2-minute rest in between. So the same duration, just an extra volume on the third session of the week. When the next week happens, then we go back down in terms of volume, but increasing the intensity. So we're now at 2 times 6 minutes with a 2-minute rest. So the drop in 2 minutes, what we're saying here is not the same sort of intensity. You can go push a little bit more because you have less volume, so you can add a bit more intensity. So 2 times 6 minutes, again with a 2-minute rest. 2 times 6 minutes with a 2-minute rest on the third session, or the second session of that week. And the final session of that week is 3 times 6 minutes. So a bit more volume on the last bit, but trying to maintain that intensity over our next set of runs. So if you have a heart rate analysis, you can see you can go well above the 180 beats per minute. You can go to almost maximum intensity on some of the runs, certainly towards the latter part of the run. If you don't have a heart rate, you can obviously just feel it 8 or 9 out of 10 in the runs, and then the last bit should be a 9, maybe 10 out of 10 for the last couple of repetitions, or the last couple of minutes I should say. But I hope you're enjoying in the session so far. You can see the intensity now is ramping up and the volume is kind of slowly decreasing in terms of overall duration. But if you haven't done a series of building up, so if you haven't done maybe the long thresholds when we were doing 15-minute runs, 18-minute runs, and building that long base of support where we were doing a low threshold, so we were looking at maybe below 170 beats per minute, the whole rationale here you probably see in your old training is that if you had done that sessions, now that you've basically widened the base of your endurance, you've built up a really high aerobic capacity, which now you can build the base of the mount, or build the peak of the mountain higher. So widen the base, you can higher the peak is basically what we're looking for. And if you haven't done that, if you're now just joining us in the latter stages and you haven't built up a nice base of running, then I would recommend you go back into the longer thresholds, lower intensity runs, and before you do this. And the rationale for here isn't that you're not ready for these 6 to 8 minutes runs. It's more that you're not going to feel the most benefit from these runs, because a high base of aerobic fitness will allow those 2-minute gap in between to be more efficient for you, so you're going to recover quicker, so then you get more bang out of your buck for the runs that you are doing. So it all ties in together. It's all important. It's all been planned for a reason, of course. So take your time with it. If you have to go back, go back. It's not a regression in terms of where you are. It's more of trying to get the maximum benefit from the program, and that's what I would recommend. But I hope you're enjoying it. If you've been following us, fantastic. I hope you keep enjoying us. Please reach out to us if you have any questions, and I'm sure there's seminars and webinars coming in the future that you can address any questions you have. Hope you're enjoying it, and see you again soon.